Okay guys, welcome back to another video, and on today's video I'm going to be reviewing and discussing the new Disney live action movie Cruella. Starring Emma Stone and Emma Thompson, Estella is a young and clever grifter who's determined to make a name for herself in the fashion world. She soon meets a pair of thieves who appreciate her appetite for mischief, and together they build a life for themselves on the streets of London. However, when Estella befriends fashion legend Baroness von Hellman, she embraces her wicked side to become the raucous and revenge-bent Cruella. Now guys, I went into this movie pretty blind. I've never seen 101 Dalmatians, the Disney animated classic, as crazy as that seems. It was just a Disney film. As a kid, I wasn't really shown. I was more watching like Robin Hood, Jungle Book, Lion King. 101 Dalmatians was just a film. As a kid, the sort of just passed me, so I've never seen it. Nor have I ever seen the live action 101 Dalmatians movies they did, I think, in the early thousands. So I pretty much went into this movie blind to sort of the 101 Dalmatians universe, if you like. The only thing I knew what this movie was about was it was a Cruella de Vil, who obviously I know is sort of the villain of the 101 Dalmatians movies, and it was more of an origin story. Now let's get on with my likes, what I enjoyed about this movie. Straight away, I enjoyed the look and the feel of this movie. This movie seemed to capture 1970s London down to a T. Everything just looked accurate and correct. It was shot beautifully. It was sort of highlighting everything that is beautiful about the city of London, especially back in the 1970s. And it also captured that off with an absolute stellar, and I mean stellar, soundtrack featuring 1970s punk rock, disco. It had everything in there. The soundtrack to this movie felt like a soundtrack that Martin Scorsese uses in his films, or Quentin Tarantino. Every track just felt correct and fit every scene. After this movie finished, I literally went straight onto Spotify and downloaded the soundtrack to this movie. It was popping. Emma Stone in this movie was an absolute delight to watch. She absolutely brought her A game. She was on fire in this movie, literally in one scene, but she was just a delight to watch. And I love Emma Stone. I love her in everything that I see her in. She's just an incredible actress. But I think now I've seen this film, this is the best role I've ever seen her in. She starts the movie playing a character called Estelle, who is basically Cruella de Vil before she become Cruella. And she's just like this timid little thing that doesn't know what to do or what to say. And she's sort of like an outsider, like an in-betweener. She doesn't really fit in with people, and you see her upbringing through her as a child and then into sort of a teenager life. But then during the movie, she switches gears and transforms into Cruella, and the transformation is incredible. She just completely turns character on a dime, and it was just a joy to watch how she'd flip in and out of both of these characters. The costume designs in this movie were incredible. I would love to see a behind the scenes video on the making of this movie, just to do with the costumes, because I reckon the wardrobes were massive. Emma Stone's costume change in this movie is literally one every other scene. And the costume designs are just incredible. Everything just looked right for this movie. Obviously, this movie is basically about sort of the fashion industry and Cruella, or Estelle, trying to sort of make her mark on the fashion industry. So she is a fashion designer in the movie, and she's designing her own costumes. And each one of them just pops and looked incredible. All the colours were popping on the costumes. And she looked gorgeous in everything that she was wearing. Emma Thompson was also brilliant in this movie, playing the villain, the Baroness. Every time she was on screen, she was just eating up the scenery. She was just bringing her A game again. And you were watching the film, and even though she was being an absolute nightmare to Estelle or Cruella, you couldn't help but like this character in like a menacing way. And you could tell Emma Thompson was having fun with this character, just being this over-the-top, horrible boss character. Cruella herself in this movie, when Estelle transformed to Cruella, was having sort of these Banksy-style pop-up statement-making fashion shows throughout the movie, and each of them were incredible to look at. I was literally watching this film going, wow, she's like the fashion industry version of Banksy, just making these big elaborate statements in her dress sense, and also her sort of statements she was trying to make against the fashion industry and put her own stamp on it. Also guys, if you are a dog lover or a dog person, you're gonna love this movie. The use of dogs in this film was brilliant. The dog characters in this film were characters in themselves in this movie. They all had their own personality. They all had their own distinct look, things to do in the film. Some of the jokes and the comedic beats of this film were all to do with the dogs. If you are a dog person, you are going to absolutely eat this movie up. As much as these sort of movies aren't really my cup of tea, they're not really my go-to, I was sort of viewing this movie as it was going on, and it was starting to feel a bit more like a comic book villain origin movie. And I was watching it thinking, man, I wish Birds of Prey, the Harley Quinn film, would have been a bit more like this. This was the sort of idea, what I thought the Harley Quinn movie would have been like. And I think going forward, if they make another Harley Quinn movie with Margot Robbie, this is the movie they need to look at for inspiration, because this felt like sort of a Harley Quinn movie, but using a different character. And if Emma Stone is ever cast as Harley Quinn, I reckon she'd knock that out the park. Now, let's get on to my gripes, what I disliked about this film. And not a lot to say, guys. Probably my only gripe with this movie was probably the runtime. It was 2 hours 15 minutes. I'm sure this movie could have been a good hour and 45 minutes. There was a little tiny bit just before the third act where it sort of fell off a little bit, it sort of started going a bit slow. And I just think if they could have chopped off maybe half an hour, not even that, maybe 15 minutes of this movie, could have felt a bit more of a solid movie. Also, in the movie, Cruella has two henchmen, sort of friends with her, who are helping her along the way of the movie. And their comedic shtick was funny at the start, maybe in the second act, but towards the end, I felt like it was wearing thin. And it kept on cutting to like from a good scene with Cruella and Emma Stone on screen, pulling off this amazing performance, and then flipping to like one of these bumbling henchmen idiot characters where they were making daft joke or doing something stupid, and I was just like, oh, it's not funny anymore. Like, show me Emma Stone, please. With all that said, guys, let me go ahead and give you my final verdict for Cruella. I am going to give Cruella a 4.5 out of 5. Now, like I said at the top of the video, guys, I went into this movie pretty blind, and to be honest, this movie wasn't really on my radar. These sort of movies aren't my real go-to, not the sort of movies I really watch. I've seen majority of the Disney live-action movies, but for me, they're sort of like a 1, maybe 2-time watch, and then I don't really revisit them again. But I went into this movie, walked out, very surprised. I loved this movie. I thought it was really enjoyable, had a lot of fun with it. The acting was on form, it looked brilliant, the soundtrack's incredible. It was just a fun movie to watch, and I highly recommend it to anyone. And like I said, I was watching this movie, and as it was playing out, I was sat there going, well, this is sort of playing like a Marvel villain origin story, and it felt like they were sort of borrowing comic book tropes, comic book movie tropes for this movie. So for that, I just ate it up. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please comment down below your thoughts about Cruella. Did you enjoy it? Did you dislike it? Pop it down in the comments down there, because you know I like to talk to you guys down there. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel for more content, and as always, I hope to see you guys again soon. Take it easy. Ta-ra.